coming off their biggest win. But you don't own the tiebreaker against Hyannis.
When it's all said and done.
I should say not a lot of time left for both these teams to try to make a fun.
You can't take your foot off the gas from that offense that we saw and the really good pitching staff. You only got a potential 8 more points to make up in this very close West Division finale.
Tonight is Intern Appreciation Night, though, so we'll get you those festivities a little later, or really in a minute or so, as we are ready for first pitch. Coming up at 6 p.m., Duke Stowe takes the mound for Chatham, the Mississippi State Bulldog, for a Chatham team that has seen a lot of players come and a lot of players go. The Commodores will throw out another guy who's been a mainstay since the second or third week of the season in Leif Palmer. Plymouth got a 13-1 win over the Hyannis Harbor Hawks in their 5th and final meeting, and then beat Brewster by a score of 10.
And your Falmouth Commodores. And your Falmouth Commodores. Tonight is a very special evening. It is our 2025 Intern Appreciation Night. And Matt Keene. And our game day interns are supervised by Joanne Hyde for merchandise. Our producer intern, Dan Papillo. Everything she does on and off the field. Supervised by Laura Murphy and Nino Wilson. Let's hear it for Laura Murphy and Nino Wilson. Let's hear it for our entire interns one more time. Let's get a warm round of applause. Batting 8th, the right fielder from Indiana, number 34. Jake Hanley. And batting 9th, the catcher from LSU. Batting third, the first baseman from Georgia Tech, number 10, Kent Leif Palmer. Frisco, the analytics intern. Falmouth intern. Whenever, let's see what you got. Whenever you're ready. Strike. 4 beauties.
Jackson Freeman's going to be the one to lead it off. The top 3.
It's one of those games, we were mentioning it yesterday with Hyannis Harbor Hawks in town, but we care obviously about what the game's here. Falmouth looking to pick up these 2 points, but if you're the Commodores and thinking about postseason implications, you got to be scoreboard watching a little bit to see what's happening with Katuitt and Hyannis. Those teams are 3rd and 4th in the West Division, respectively. Commodores at 5th right now, looking to get into that top 4 and make the playoffs for the first time under this new format where the top 4 teams make it. Again, 4 games to go, Commodores 4 points out.
Yeah, Doors will be scoreboard watching. We will be scoreboard watching all game long for as much as we can. Here's a first look at Leif Palmer making his 3rd start on the Cape. The ERA has not been pretty. He's been roughed up a little bit. It's been a very different pitcher than we saw this last season at Oregon State. He has struck out a lot of batters this summer, but he's getting hit pretty hard, which is very different.
Had here at Gov Fuller this summer.
Do not expect the ball to fly a ton with that wind coming in and to the right. It's especially going to be a really tough day for right-handed hitters. Jackson Freeman will be the one to lead things off against Leif Palmer. That ERA coming off of a season last year in Corvallis where he saw 18 appearances, including 1 start, and an ERA of just over 2. He was phenomenal. First pitch, fastball a bit outside to Jackson Freeman, the Northwestern Wildcat, squad back to Evanston this upcoming year. Grass out number 1 on a soft liner. Lopez, another Consistent start for him at short. We'll look at the defense around Adrian Lopez and behind Leif Palmer. We consistently or have seen a lot of changes on the defense, and having the first appearance in left field for Gavin Craker.
Yeah, the Bryant Bulldog was an Ocean State Wave just yesterday. Now gets a start in left field. We'll talk about him a little bit more.
Would want but the title that Daniel Jackson takes home. He hit the furthest home run at the home run derby, so not the most numbers, and he's going to line one down the first base line. Down for a base hit. He's thinking about two, and he's going to stop at first. Fired back in by Antonio Morales and right. And a one-out single for Daniel Jackson, the first base runner of the game.
Yeah, that was a huge turn by the Georgia Bulldog. The opposite field contact through the 2 and 3 hitters. Daniel Jackson gets a single in the right field. Freilich with some solid 2 and 3 hitters. Daniel Jackson gets a single in the right field. Freilich with some solid contact into left as a lefty batter.
So, top of the first inning, Chatham trying to make some early game splash. Roman Martin, the UCLA Bruin, with the runner on first at 2 outs. Martin was one of the later additions for this Chatham team. Already got himself a home run at his first couple of weeks, though, with the Anglers. First pitch low. Earned a nickname this past year for the Bruins, postseason Roman. He was fantastic in UCLA.
On behalf of the Cape Cod Baseball League, we would like to thank the following league partners for their continued support: Veolia North America, Wilson Sporting Goods, Yawkey Foundation, Netting Pros, Falmouth Publishing Company, Butler Sporting Goods, Sports Specs, Margaritaville Resort Cape Cod, Sunderland Printing, Margaritaville Resort Cape Cod, Sunderland Printing, Del Mar Vacation Rentals, and of course, thank you to Major League Baseball for over 50 years of support.
Hi, I'm TJ Coates. I'm a right-handed pitcher from the University of Nebraska, and I'd love to give it.
A lot of appearances so far, and again, kind of like Leif, he's had some up and down appearances. But overall, where again, a lot of guys playing not out of position, but in. That's tough. That's impressive.
Oh my goodness.
A
Carl's
lot
got
of lights
no
here
idea.
at the Govs.
Carl's got no idea.
He has no idea. I was a junior, he was a freshman, so that off the bat is kind of embarrassing. But I felt like I was just the scout team defender for Jake Hanley in practice. That was kind of my role on the team. He was obviously the tallest player on the team. I think 6'4" at the time. Yep. He's grown to 6'6" now. Yep. I was 6'2" at the time. So we were the two tallest guys on the team to my memory. And I remember he definitely scored on me a little bit more than I scored on him. The biggest thing, though, wasn't the scoring. It was the rebounding. He beat me to every ball. He was stronger, way quicker, taller, obviously, and that was – I got yelled at a lot in practice.
Looks like a perfect stretch 4 now. Stories from Eddie on Cade.
We'll call it healthy competition between those two. Between those two for the lead or starting backstop.
Everyone wants to put on the mask and equipment when the game is on, but they also want someone to go get food with after the game and be best friends with.
You can improve your bat speed and reach your goals working 10 to 15 minutes a day on this a couple of times a week. That's a no-brainer for every player.
If you can dream it, if you can cruise in it, if you can summer in it, fish from it, or take it for a day at the beach, we can protect it. The Baldwin Group, protecting the possible.
What's up? I'm Kent Schmidt, first base from Georgia Tech, and you're watching Cape League TV.
Easy bottom of the first inning for Duke Stone. He'll make his way back to the hill for the bottom of the second. On a cloudy night, I should say, here at Gov Fuller Field. We only got one more of these after tonight at the Gov. The home finale and regular season finale against Cotuit on Sunday. Falmouth will go on the road for a couple with Bourne and Wareham the next couple of days, respectively. But Stone will see his first look at the middle of the lineup, and we will get our first 7 for 209. A lot of extra base hits, though. 15 doubles and a couple of triples. But the power is not his biggest thing. Just a couple of home runs. Wouldn't be surprised to see another appearance. From him. Fouls another one off. Eventually, Bryant bowed out to Binghamton in the American East Championship this past year. So, pretty long at bat here for Gregor.
You do it against 2 All-Stars in Carl Schmidt, Ken Schmidt, and then the new guy. Welcome to the Cape League, a first strikeout for Gavin Gregor.
Zuckerman not in the lineup yesterday, but it's been in the lineup pretty much every game since started. First few games hot, first pitch just on the outside corner.
The second baseman Mazan, he looked simple and comfortable on a grounded to Mike Anu. Now does the same to Ryan Zuckerman with 3 consecutive strikeouts sandwiched in between the two.
Now here's Adrian Lopez, who got back on track.
Any job. One source that has a team you can rely on, the people and a name you trust, with the tools you need. One source with a location near you and wherever the work takes you. Milton Reds, the right equipment when and where you need it.
Hi, I'm Mike Anu from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and I'd like to give a special shout out to my boy T.
Every single day we get closer to the postseason, the regular season implications or playoff implications get even higher. Freeman's come to the plate. He is plunked on just the 3rd pitch of the at-bat. So a couple of singles and now a couple of first nobody out. Change up right down Broadway. And I think it's pretty simple too. Ties make it kind of hard to understand.
Now again, you're chasing Hyannis, but to your point, you could still split that or win that season series against Katuitt with a win on Sunday. Should it come down, as long as Falmouth can be 1 game better than Katuitt entering that potential winner-take-all Sunday game.
2-1 with nobody out.
That's the second walk that Palmer has issued.
Hyannis and Katuitt both struggle down the stretch, and Falmouth can pick up some wins. And I don't think there's any team in the league right now that wants to go. They'll make the shopper to the right. And there's going to be a meeting on the mound for Todd Carroll again. That's one I maybe have to look at again, but off memory, I think if the infield doesn't come in, Reese Maroney's probably in position to just catch that on the line. And look at the infield doesn't come in, Reese Maroney's probably in position to just catch that on the line. And looking at a very different situation. RBIs against LSU. That's ball down. RBIs against LSU. That's ball down. That's eventually who UCLA through the year. So it was very rarely do you see a team that's in position to make a tournament see a coach get fired halfway through the year. It's just foul. Martin almost had him see a coach get fired halfway through the year. Fastball rubbed hard, got that power. Stallman's got a couple of words too as he'll make his way back to the dugout. Stallman's got a couple of words too as he'll make his way back to the dugout. That is a huge strikeout for Leif Palmer, and just his first of this ball game. We're halfway through the second, but it keeps the runners at first and third. Jackson still at third. Martin still at first for the 6-hitter Isaiah Lane. Again, it was not something that Palmer did a ton at Oregon State. It was not something that Palmer did a ton at Oregon State. He had a total of 31 innings pitched. He struck out just 19 batters. This one grounded to the left side.
One rule win over Hyannis. But it goes from these long innings.
Martin's rounding third, no.
But it goes from these long innings.
Martin's rounding third, no throw. Martin's rounding third, no throw. And another RBI throw. And another RBI single for the Anglers. It's been death by 1,000 paper cuts here in the third. They lead 3-0. RBI, actually the first RBI on the Cape here for Trace Mazan.
Yeah, it started with
Mazan.
Yeah, it started with Leif Palmer hitting Freeman and walking Jackson consecutively, but since then
But Jake Hanley If you go back to Jake Hanley, if you go back to the first time Chatham played here in Falmouth, he had one of the more interesting plays I think I've ever seen. Hit. He's got the one ball. No strike count. Runners at first and second, 2 outs. Fastball, no strike count. Runners at first and second, 2 outs. Fastball, top of the zone, 4-1 to him.
Yeah, how fitting is it that a young fan is just on the field walking around in a weird moment, and they had that weird moment as well.
I think I've ever seen on the baseball diamond as well. That was a thriller, 9-7 win for Falmouth back in the first month of this season. In a game where we saw a total of 12 different pitchers. Each team threw out 6. Swing and a miss. Strikes first with 3 and take a 3-0 lead here on Cape League TV.
At Cape Cod Healthcare, we're committed to excellence and compassion in everything we do, like helping people.
Players can use this with any bat. It's basically going to shift the weight of the bat a little bit more towards the hands. Players are able to hit the ball a lot harder just by simply adding the puck on.
Back here at Gov Fuller Field, where Duke Stone's got a very efficient first 2 innings. He's pitching baseball pretty fast today. I heard he can also swim fast. The third member of our crew, Andrew Della Piata, has more on an interesting story in another sport for Duke Stone. Andrew?
Yeah, that's right, Ben. These baseball players nowadays can really just do about everything, right? They can pitch, they can throw, they can do really everything. But for Duke Stone, he was a 17-time state champion in swimming growing up. His parents got him in the sport. He was even a state qualifier once he got to high school in 2021 and 2022. But really, guys, the most impressive thing is he said growing up, it's also helped out his pitching as well, because the arms, they make him a little bit stronger and makes him throw the ball pretty fast, as we've seen in this ball game, guys.
Thanks, Andrew. So I'm hearing strong arms, swim fast, throw fast?
Seems about right. Yeah, it seems like it's worked so far in this game as well for Stone, who's retired the first 6 batters he faced. Similar motion, I can see that. How about the endurance that it also forces in the arms? If you've ever tried to swim for more than 20 or 30 minutes, you know what I'm talking about.
6 retired, half of them via the strikeout. And now the 7-hitter will get his first look at the bottom third of the lineup, with Mason Eckelman, the Ohio State catcher, leading things off. First pitch in the zone. 0-1 count. Eckelman down to his knees to foul one off. And this has been one of those games that it feels, take out Hyannis, kind of eerily similar to some of the games we've had the last week for Falmouth.
When Falmouth has given up runs during that 6-game losing streak, that it was because of just 1 or 2 innings the opposition had that scored all the runs. So again, a 3rd inning in which Chatham puts up 3 runs, you're right, that does feel very similar. Good thing for Falmouth, though, is you have 6 more innings now to go and make that up.
0-2's low here to the 250 hitting catcher. Pops one down on the 3rd baseline. Martin give it a chase. Maroney, if you're going to pick one hero from that dynamic offensive performance yesterday, probably him. 3 for 3 with 5 RBIs. He was responsible for 5 of the 13 driven in. Broke out in a major way. Now sits at 4 for his first 11 here in Falmouth, to go with that impressive 802 OPS in small sample size. Change up just inside.
You got to call it the Maroney moment. His first real performance that I'm here on Cape Cod. 5 runs batted in. That's the most the Commodores had since Game 4 of the season, where Barrett Harrison had 2 homers and 5 ribbies against Orleans.
Stone fires home the 2-1 right down the middle to make it 2 balls, 2 strikes. One of the first times it feels like Stone has fallen behind. Just 33 pitches in 2 2/3 so far. And he is 1 strike away from getting out of the 3rd inning. Fastball called strike. Check that one out in the inning, but that's how fast he's moving right now.
So hard to see because he's just working.
Spectacular year at Rhode Island, one of the best hitters on a Rams team. That made the Baton Rouge Regional. Hitters on a Rams team. That made the Baton Rouge Regional. Lines and fires the 2-2. Punched foul. So 35 pitches for Stone. Obviously 4 strikeouts and the first 7 batters faced He's also kept the ball on the ground. 3 groundouts outside of the first 4 strikeouts. So nobody on this Falmouth team has put the ball in the air yet.
He's a ground ball pitcher. Again, now with 23 innings on Cape Cod. He's only allowed 1 homer. How about 1 single here?
Yeah, that one could sit to the first base runner of the game for the Commodores. Off the bat of Reese Maroney, he stays hot. That is now 4 for his last 4 with the 9-hitter Antonio Morales.
Gotta love a bit of a broadcaster jinx, saying a ground ball pitcher, and immediately it's wafted into center field for a single. But yeah, how about Maroney? 4 for his last 4 after starting his Cape tenure, 1 for 8 in his first 3 games.
Got a lot of speed on the base paths too. Antonio Morales, the 9-hitter, at the plate in a righty on lefty matchup. First pitch swinging. Again in foul territory, and Roman Martin's going to run out of room.
And I was saying this when we checked out the lineup card, Ben, for the Commodores today, but I love this.
Morales will pop one fair territory this time. Couple of steps up for Reese Stallman, and will make the easy play. Steps up for Reese Stallman, and will make the easy play. Quick jog back to first for Maroney. Now 2 gone in the bottom of the 3rd. And it will bring it to the top of the lineup, and Micah New. Speaking of different lineup spots, New in a different spot the last week or so. They moved him to the leadoff spot. I think it started at the beginning of this week, maybe at YD. But we talked to him beforehand about the different that he had to start the game off yesterday. Said, I don't usually have a lot of those here this summer.
Something along the lines of, I've never even done that before from New.
Very aggressive. Swings very early. It'll lead to a decent amount of strikeouts, but it also leads to a league-leading 8 homers, including 1 yesterday. Called strike that he's not in agreement with, but he's down 0-2. Grounded out to second his first time up. Still just a 1 base runner for Falmouth on the single from Maroney. Stone's up to 41 pitches now, so still charge it. Make the throw to first. And it's just in time. Little high, but Freilich just able to keep his foot on the bag. So Falmouth gets their first base runner on a base hit by Reese Maroney, but Stone's able to work. Heading to the 4th on Cape League TV.
Get ready for big results with our...
But Stone's able to work around it. 1/3 of the way through. It's a 3-0 lead for Chatham. Heading to the 4th on Cape League TV.
I'm Trevor Baumler, right-handed pitcher from TC.
1 and 2. Fastball right on the outer part of the plate. Now to Aaron Beatty, who's 0 for 1 today. Bounced into a fielder's choice at second, his first time up. About just the 62 at-bats for Aaron Beatty, who's 0 for 1 today. Bounced into a fielder's choice at second, his first time up. About just the 62 at-bats for him. Here's tonight's question. On the topic of standings, when was the last time the Commodores won the West Division? Of course, says all by tweeting your answer and including the hashtag Doors Trivia. That's hashtag Doors Trivia. We'll get the answer in the bottom of the 4th inning.
So I know the answer.
I'm scared to say anything. This one's punched foul. So you say you know the answer.
I know the answer.
Are you going to give the answer? Is what I'm asking.
I won't give the answer because it's one of those things where when I say I know it, we're talking 90% accuracy. So if I
here. Before I give the answer in the bottom of the 4th inning, I will let you give your answer. Now, I do not know the 4th inning. I will let you give your answer. Now, I do not know the answer to this question. So I'm going to make a guess of, I'm trying to remember the answers. 18, 19, 21, to 22 were the options. Freeman down the first base line. That's fair. Over the glove.
A couple minutes before we even went live, this was a nice poke right past first base under Ken Schmidt by Freeman. But we had the disagreement because I knew 100% accuracy because we even talked about
it
the hour
pregame
before
show.
we went live. This one, if it's 90%, if there's a 90% confidence that I know the answer, I guess that's what you define a guess as, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. No pun intended. Fastball out low here to Daniel Jackson. It's got a runner on first. And 1 out. I think we've solved it. Single and a walk back in the 3rd inning. and then he eventually in the third inning, and then he eventually came around to score on the RBI single from Roman Martin. Actually, he scored on the RBI single from Isaiah Lane. A quick conversation for Mason Eckelman to talk to Jake Cullen. He made 10 starts for this Rhode Island team. He was a weekend piece for him. Started the year as the Sunday starter. Got his first start against William and Mary the first weekend. The first weekend of the spring season. Fastball way out to even it up. Even tossed his bat back. We have already seen a lot of disagreement with Mickey Garcia today. The Saturday start the next weekend and win an inning and a third, giving up. Try another payoff swing and a miss. Big one for Cullen to get his first and put it in a perfect spot. Just fastball outside. Got Jackson to chase it. 2 down now in the top of the fourth inning for Chase Fralick.
Mentioned that the walks have been a problem for Cullen. Now it's the strikeouts that can match that total at least. 5 strikeouts to 5. Come in and be more bullpen pieces, and then the opposite can be true too. I think that's big in terms of pitchers wanting to be as versatile as possible and get as many innings as they can when they go back to school.
First pitch, way high and out to Fralick. Even with being a starter, never threw 100 pitches in a game. Actually got close, 95 against Dayton, and played about out in 2. But he got the start in the third game of the A-10 tournament against George Mason and pitched pretty well. 4 1/3, just 1 earned run on 3 hits. 2-0 grounder off of Fralick's own foot. Auburn had success in their own regional, took care of NC State and Stetson as the 2 and 3 seeds. Before getting swept and the Supers by really just a juggernaut in Coastal Carolina. That was the Supers that was played in Auburn. It was a great atmosphere. 2-1 offering.
You have an incoming Chanticleer and Trace Mazan batting 7th today for the Anglers. And all the way to the bottom of the card, it's the LSU National Champion.
Cape Cod 5 offers a broad range of financial products and services tailored for every stage in your financial journey. Reach out to us. We're here to help.
On behalf of the Cape Cod Baseball League, we would like to thank the following league partners for their continued support: Cape Space, Cape Cod 5, Jersey Mike's, and of course, thank you to Major League Baseball for over 50 years of support.
Hi, I'm Jackson Manesco from Ocean City, New Jersey, and I want to give a quick shout out to my mom.
Back here at Falmouth, Commodores chasing a 3-0 deficit to the Chatham Anglers here on a Thursday night, an intern appreciation night. And Ryan, one of my favorite interns as my broadcast partner, I would appreciate if you would give me what you... Oh, don't look! You looked at the monitor.
I would have it wrong anyways. I was going to say 2021. That's where the 10% kicks in as well. 2019, right before COVID, where there's no season in 2020. If I had known better, then yes, I would have been continue looking at your way, not the monitor too. But hand up there, and good trivia question by our producer Dan Papilla.
90%. That's the mound for his 4th inning of work. Schmidt swinging out of his shoes at that first pitch. So haven't won the division in 6 years now, and in jeopardy of dropping back-to-back seasons without making the playoffs. That one grounded right at Fralick at first base in the season. Sked Schmidt will make his way to the plate. 20 games in, the Falmouth Commodores were 10-9-1. They shared first place with the Hyannis Harbor Hawks ever since. They have gone 4-12 in those last 16 games. So 4-12 of the last 16. They've lost 6 of the last 7. Just snapped that 6-game losing streak yesterday. Kent Schmidt's down 0-2 after striking out swinging his first time up. And That shows you what Stone could do. Schmidt does not strike out a whole lot. 0-2, called strike 3. Back-to-back Ks for Kent Schmidt. That's the first one of the second time through the lineup after 4 the first time. So 5 total for Duke Stone. He is dealing for Chatham today. 2, let's go. 1-0 pitch does put it in play, but it's right at Trace Mazan, who will toss it on to first. So how about this? Duke Stone is cruising through 4. Just 50 pitches thrown, shutting out the Commodores. 3-0 Anglers through 4 on Cape League TV.
0% on the purchase of many new small excavators.
Shout out to my parents. Oh.
A day where we certainly will be scoreboard watching all season long. Right here, you want to scoreboard watch at Gulf Fuller Field. It's 3-0 the Chatham Anglers lead back at the Gulf. Still see Jake Cullen, but take a look around. Again, Harbor Hawks and Cotuit are the two teams you're looking at the most. It's an early deficit for Cotuit up in Orleans. Also, Hyannis trails by 2 with just 6 outs to go against YD.
I love us highlighting the one in McKeon Park there, the one that really means the most, a 2-1 Bravos lead, because in the top of that third inning, how about this? It was Hyannis that walks in a Bourne run for the first Bravos run of the day, and Gavin Kelly reaches on an error to score Ryan Cooney. So 2-0 early for 2-1.
Than he expected, but still able to make the play for the first out here, the 5th. Now Reed Stallman, who's 1 for 2, had a leadoff single back in the second inning and eventually was stranded there, but had that frustrating strikeout that he didn't agree with, strike 2 called to him before swinging and missing with runners on first and third and 1 out. But as what's happened for the Commodores a lot, even with the second out and eliminating the sacrifice situation, Chatham still able to put a couple of RBI singles on the board to get some insurance. So 1 for 2. So 1 for 2 so far for Stallman. The Campbell Camel and then Mississippi State Bulldog. Fastball just off the plate for ball 2. 2-0. Didn't bring it up on the graphic, but they do have a 6-0 lead over Wareham. It's a Whitecaps win and Anglers loss that could eliminate the Anglers from the playoffs. But Anglers in the driver's seat of this one.
There. When you look at Orleans, Harwich, Brewster, and YD.
Almost certainly. Wareham's playing some pretty good baseball right now, though, and I think just how hot they are is certainly not a team you want to play, which is why what makes the difference between the 3 seed and 4 seed pretty important, too. Got to look at right now is that battle between Cotuit and Hyannis. The 2-2. Change up, way inside. We have now run full. You say it's more complicated.
Fun as Lopez, the one who sees it drop into his glove, just waiting for it underneath.
Probably one you would have let Reese take care of, but outfielders have priority over infielders, and shortstop has priority over the rest of the infield. So, quick 2 retired in order for Chatham.
And to go back to finish off that point about the standings, too, you're right. There's a lot of movement atop the East. Well, Wareham's the first team to clinch a spot in the playoffs by doing so in the West Division. But how about the Orleans Firebirds? They jumped from 4 to 2 in just one day after a win last night.
Fastball high and tight. We have talked to so many people who have been in the league for a very long time, so many managers, so many employees who have just said this race in the whole league, from the top team to the bottom team, has been closer than they've ever seen in the Cape League so far. Employees who have just said this race in the whole league, from the top team to the bottom team, has been closer than they've ever seen in the Cape League so far.
Local business or a visitor, Falmouth has endless offerings. From its beautiful beaches and historical sites to its local shopping and eateries. The Chamber bridges the 8 villages, providing visitors with all the tools to make their trip one to remember. Our visitor center is located in downtown Falmouth, just off of Main Street. Come by and meet our team. The Falmouth Chamber of Commerce, your community connection.
I'm Adrian Lopez. I'm an infielder from the University of Southern California, and you're watching Commodore Baseball on Cape League TV.
Zuckerman the first time through the order. Stone's first pitch of the inning is a fastball that's flied out of play by Stone's first pitch of the inning is a fastball that's flied out of play by Zuckerman. As you mentioned, it's been the 5 strikeouts for Duke Stone, and then has induced 4 groundouts. Stone's 0-1 to the Georgia Tech third baseman is again fouled off. Zuckerman, a rising junior, heading to Georgia Tech, but getting ready for his 3rd season in ACC. Spent 2 seasons at Pittsburgh. Yardley, Pennsylvania native, down 0-2 after grounding out to the second baseman Mazan his first time up. Stone kicks and deals the 2-2. It's fastball taken on the outer third for a called strike 3. Zuckerman sent down on strikes for the first time today, but that's his 6th strikeout today for Duke Stone. Right-hander has been working well, with Adrian Lopez now coming to the plate with 1 out in the home half of the 5th. And you take a look at Lopez entering the box. 3rd member of our crew, Andrew Delapiana, is alongside here for that special message he writes in the dirt.
Yeah, he puts a cross as well as an N. He does that in honor of his grandmother, who he called Nana, who passed away senior year of high school, and he's been doing that ever since. She's the one who got him into baseball growing up, and he also does this thing where he prays every time he takes the field defensively as well, whether it's at short here in Falmouth or at first at USC, and just a good tribute to someone who meant so much to him in his life, Ryan.
Thanks so much, Andrew. Yeah, meaningful there from Lopez, who grounds it over his defensive counterpart Lane at short, throws a cross for the 2nd out.
Big Ten Network did a story on that a little earlier this year, or kind of towards the end of the spring season. Pretty cool. Be a great one to check out.
Speaking of the Big Ten, you and I are both Big Ten guys. So is Mason Eckelman, the Ohio State catcher. Steps in after it's Ryan Zuckerman, who strikes out looking, and then Adrian Lopez, who grounds out to shortstop. Mason Eckelman was the 4th of now 6 strikeouts on the day for Stone. Steps in for the 2nd time and lofts one into shallow left field. 3rd baseman Roman Martin heads into foul territory and catches out number 3. 3 up, 3 down again for the Commodores. Make it 16 batters faced by Duke Stone. He's retired 15 of them. It's 3-0 Chatham entering the 6th inning here on Cape League TV.
Are you looking for that perfect pregame meal? Supreme Pizza has you covered. Its extensive menu has everything from pies and calzones to salads and subs. And with its online ordering system, delicious food is just 1 click away.
It's an honor to support the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Supreme Pizza is open every day of the week. Order online.
Lottery, we're known for our monster wins. But there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. In our game, we know that supporting local businesses and helping communities is how we all win. Because at the lottery, we're all playing for the home team. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.
On behalf of the Cape Cod Baseball League, we would like to thank the following league partners for their continued support: 99 Restaurants, Badger Sports, the Baldwin Group.
All the action at the Cape Cod Baseball League by downloading the Cape League TV app on your mobile device and favorite TV streaming platform. You can now watch the Doors on your Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Android TVs. The playoffs are right around the corner, and Cape League TV provides live and on-demand coverage of all games and featured content from the nation's best summer collegiate baseball league. Get in the game now with Cape League TV. Also on Intern Appreciation Night, we appreciate all of our intern videographers who make our production on Cape League TV go around so seamless. There's our guys always working so hard in the back. Timmy Weiss, our associate producer, Dan Papillo, our producer, and Kyle Clam. And now has Jake Hanley into a 1-1 count. Hanley's 0 for 1 so far today. He was walked by the starter Leif Palmer in the second and grounded out in the third. Takes the 1-1 low and inside for ball 2. 1-1 low and inside for ball 2.
Well, the favorite thing I like doing my research on Lavager.
Inside for ball 2.
Well, the favorite thing I like doing my research on Lavager. Playing at Maine, you know what's interesting? What's interesting about
Mason High School, go Comets. Does he have that speed too? We should watch out at first base.
Yeah.
Have that speed too? We should watch out at first base.
Yeah, he stole a couple of bases at Indiana this last year. Obviously, he's playing a stretch 4 or 5. Doesn't need to have a ton of speed at basketball, but for a first baseman, he does move pretty well.
Again, Hanley 6'6", 235, and from the same high school and same university at Indiana. That is our own Ben Haller. Ball 2 taken upstairs by the LSU catcher, national champion.
Well.
Again, Hanley 6'6", 235, and from the same high school and same university at Indiana. That is our own Ben into deep left field. You can see the wind blowing into deep left field. You can see the wind blowing in, though, from that spot in left field. So it robs Aaron Beatty of his first homer on Cape Cod. Here's Jackson Freeman. He's got 2 homers himself this year through 35 games played to lead all Chatham anglers. So far, he's 1 for 2. That includes when he was hit by a pitch and scored the first run of this game in the 3rd inning. Before that, a line out, and after that, a single and stranded. He's got Jake Hanley at first base. 2 outs in the top of the 6th inning. Commodores chasing by 3 here in game 36 of the Cape Cod Baseball League season. Luke Lavager is 1-2. Spoiled away by Jackson Freeman, the rising junior at Northwestern. A lot of good Big Ten talent.
I was going to say, this is my next point.
Chatham team.
Big Ten littered over this ball game. As for Falmouth, too, Adrian Lopez, USC, Antonio Morales, Maryland.
Freeman, if you're for you years removed from being 2024,
Freshman year before Hanley. Was it? All right, the fact that you're asking means it's a Maryland guy.
Nope. Close, maybe. Tipped by Freeman. Count still reads 2 balls and 2 strikes as Luke Lavager looks to get out of his first inning on Cape Cod scoreless.
Give me the team, maybe I'll get it.
It was...
We have a unique 27-hole public golf course with a beautiful layout that is family-oriented. Kids play free here at Falmouth Country Club. Getting on the course is quick and easy with our app. You can book tee times, get yardages with GPS, use our interactive scorecard, track your stats, and receive exclusive in-app offers. Falmouth Country Club is a true Cape Cod classic and a local family favorite.
See you on the course.
Hi, I'm Michael Kasparian, President of the Falmouth Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber is here for the benefit of the whole community. Whether you're a local business or a visitor, Falmouth has endless offerings, from its beautiful beaches and historical sites to its local shopping and eateries. The Chamber bridges the 8 villages, providing visitors with all the tools to make their trip one to remember. Our visitor center is located in downtown Falmouth, just off of Main Street. Come by and meet our team. The Falmouth Chamber of Commerce, your community connection.
Hi, I'm Zach Johnston from Cumberland, Maine. I'd like to give a special shout out to my host parents, Paula and John, for being great people.
Halfway through the 6th inning here at Gov Fuller Field, Chatham Anglers in town and up 3-0 over the Falmouth Commodores on Intern Appreciation Day. We appreciate the opportunity to be joined by one of the Commodores' interns themselves. This is Communications Manager Whitman Clark, here to discuss a little bit.
So basically, you know Noah Nussbaum to your left here. He covers, what I like to say is he covers everything inside the foul lines, everything outside of it. That is me, be it community events, things like Fenway Day, introducing some of the fans to this new coaching staff through a coaching profile series I've been working on. Just anything that needs to be written about that is not the score of a baseball game or a stat line, that would be my doing.
It's been a lot of introductions here on Cape Cod.
Fenway Day and the Globe Riders that came last Tuesday. For me, Fenway Day was it was amazing to get to see Fenway for the first time, to be able to step on the field even in a way that, not many people get the chance to do. You got to do it as well. That was super cool. It's something I'll remember for the rest of my life. And then obviously talking to those riders that came last Tuesday, I believe it was, just a chance to pick their brain. Obviously, it's not very often you get to hear from guys like that have progressed so far in a field that I would like to be in. So that was super cool.
Yeah, when we just saw some of our fellow interns on screen right there. Between the three of us, you got about 30, 32 more interns.
Mm-hmm.
What has it been like from your perspective to be part of
the ones that they picked? If I'm lucky enough to be back here next year, it will be it will almost be with a heavy heart to have guys, different than the two of y'all. The game day had a pond with a little beach behind it, and there were, I think, 4 or 5 kayaks there. And late night decisions aren't always the best. And Jack Funk, the game day lead intern, one of our roommates, decided that we would call ourselves pirates for the rest of the summer. Now, I don't know how many pirates flip their kayak trying to go to the bathroom in the middle of the lake, but oh well. But outside of that, it's been great. I mean, to become almost best friends with guys, that this was a position in the organization. But I also learned it's not easy. They aren't handing out microphones left and right at ESPN. So I've always said you get in where you fit in. And there are a million ways to get into sports. And being a writer, it allows me to tell a story just through written word, not my voice. A million ways to get into sports. And being a writer, it allows me to tell a story just through written word, not my voice. And that has been great to learn how to do something else. The lowest man on the totem pole, be it whatever intern that is on any given day, we're all doing this because we love baseball. And I think, Kathy, she's told me a couple times she's not really the biggest baseball person, but it's really the town of Falmouth that keeps her coming back. And after 6 or 7 weeks here, I can see why. Everybody here, all the game day keeps her coming back. And after 6 or 7 weeks here, I can see why. Everybody here, all the game day volunteers, everybody in the concession stand, they make it champion, 10-year everyday guy in the big leagues. That's something you can count on. Not very many hands have done that. Yeah. So to be able to pick a guy's brain like that is amazing. But like I said, what really surprised me in a good way was his coaching staff and the people that he brought along with him to really help instill as much knowledge in these guys as possible. And I said, in my first my first profile piece was about Bo McMillan. And I finished that off with, I said, if your son, your brand during away games, my buddy Ryan, whenever we let him tag along, he will not go anywhere without Ryan Martin and Ben Haller in his ear watching the game. And I think that's just one of the many testaments that goes to show, just how well our bosses pick these positions, who they're looking for. I've said it before, I'll sound like a broken record, that you guys, you've made this just a great place to be this summer.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Whitman. It's been
love it. Outside of that daggone traffic on 28.
Yeah, that'll hit you for sure.
Yeah, this is this is a situation where we said we have 35 different interns. If somebody is at home watching this interview, watching this game right now, and they're on the fence about whether they want to try and apply to be an intern for Falmouth Commodores or any Cape League team, what would your message be?
You do it. You do it 100 times over. When I was on my Zoom interview with Kathy and she said the job is yours if you want it, I said, well, you know what, I'll accept it internally at least. I said I'll accept it and I'll just keep it in my back pocket, look for anything else that comes along, and I am beyond grateful that nothing else came along. This has been amazing. Please do it. If you have the opportunity, do it 100 times over, because even if you learn nothing if you take nothing away from this, it will still be the greatest summer of your life.
And that will do it for Whitman Clark here, the Commodores communication manager. Again, Whitman, we appreciate you and all of our intern team here.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
3-0 Chatham. We'll talk to you in the top of the 7th here on Cape League TV.
Introducing Open Cape, the local nonprofit internet service provider in this region. Open Cape's fast and reliable network is 100% fiber optic, providing affordable internet connectivity. To learn more, visit opencape.org and always speak with a live Open Cape representative. Open Cape, providing choice and competition for your home or business and the official internet provider of your Falmouth Commodores.
We are Open Cape.
Hi, my name is Matt Burgess, General Manager here at Falmouth.
Dance Party is living in the penultimate home game of the regular season for the Falmouth Commodores. Go Fuller Field, a special home for a special reason. Always a lot of fun when Homer is out there dancing, and that's what the Chatham Anglers have done so far. They'll look to do it into the second inning of work against Luke Laviger, making his Cape League debut, and he'll see 2, 3, and 4, starting off with Daniel Jackson in the 7th.
Can never miss a good opportunity with a Macarena. Macarena, YMCA have been the popular picks for Homer's Dance Party this year.
For good reason, too.
Yes.
Yeah, great reason. Here's Daniel Jackson, the designated hitter out of Georgia, is 1 for 2.
I think you might have mentioned it at the beginning of the broadcast. I really just put you on the spot there.
Did.
I was put you on the spot there. My question is, did you know how long of a drive that was? My question is, did you know how long of a drive that was?
So the New England Collegiate Baseball League is a bit more spread out than teams in the Cape are, as Jackson grounds one through the left side for a base hit. So after the 7th hit of the day for Chatham, Daniel Jackson over to first base for Chase Freilich. The Auburn Tiger steps in from the left side. He's one of 4 lefties in the lineup today for first year. Chatham manager Dennis Cook. Take a quick look around the Cape, as we mentioned, into game. The two teams you have to be watching. If you're a Falmouth Commodores fan, it's the Hyannis Arborhawks currently, and if you're a Falmouth Commodores fan, it's the Hyannis Arborhawks currently in 4th place in the West Division standings, and the Katuitt Cavaliers, who leapfrogged them, and now in 3rd place. Both of those teams are really the only hope that Falmouth has if it wants to get into the playoff picture and out of that spot at the 5th spot. So 1 out in the top of the 7th for Roman Martin, UCLA third baseman. Watches the first pitch he sees for a ball. Freilich moves to 0 for 4 on the day. Second grounded he's had to Reese Maroney at second base. Meanwhile, Roman Martin batting out of the cleanup spot. He's 1 for 3. A 1-run single in the 3rd.
To put 2 runners on with nobody out. Then you get all 3 runs scoring on 3 separate RBI singles.
Roman Martin, the rising junior at UCLA from Whittier, California. And he got that nickname postseason Roman. He might just be waiting for Martin to get over to first base. That's what he does before making the walkout. Again, Laviger comes into this game after the 4th and 5th inning was all Jake Cullens, the Rhode Island Ram. We can give you his final line. He was great through 2 innings. Gives up just 1 hit of scoreless baseball. Didn't allow a walk and struck out 1. This is going to be a tough position to come into, not only for the left fielder Gavin Greger, but now the right-hander and Luke Laviger. Again, guys who were in a completely different league. They were in the New England Collegiate Baseball League just yesterday. Greger played in that final game of the regular season. He comes over. You'd assume that it was Laviger who had a bit more rest before making his debut on the same day he gets to Falmouth.
It's one thing for a hitter to do that, but like a pitcher to come in like that's after driving here this morning. Again, he must have been on a certain amount this morning. Again,
mid-season addition for this Chatham team. He's from Overland Park, Kansas. Mississippi State being his 3rd school. And his 13th game on Cape Cod, grounds this one high over to Ken Schmidt. Watch it drop into the glove and goes over to first base for the 2nd out. Jackson does move up to 3rd, and Roman Martin takes his spot at 2nd for Isaiah Lane.
We've talked about it much with Duke Stone, who did it so effectively in the first few innings of just keeping the ball on the ground, but that's something I've noticed from Laviger a little bit too. It's his 2nd ground out of this inning, after he got a couple in the 6th too.
So a big spot now for Isaiah Lane. Already has an RBI on a single in the 3rd. That was his 2nd of 3 1-run singles in that inning. That's how Chatham has all 3 of its runs today. First pitch is a check swing from Lane, but its home plate umpire Mickey Garcia says he goes around. So that was Lane's 18th run batted in the 3rd. Now is a chance for 2 more with 2 in scoring position. And this is exactly where Falmouth has struggled so often late into the season, Ben. It's with runners on base and 2 outs, where again, Falmouth comes into this game with a 1.6 whip with 2 outs in an inning.
Yeah. It has been brutal. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it, really. There's actually some similarities between Falmouth and who they played yesterday in Hyannis.
2 Chatham runners and goes for another scoreless frame. 2 Chatham runners and goes for another scoreless frame. But Chatham still relying on that third inning to score all of its runs. 3-0 Anglers entering the bottom of the 7th. It's time to stretch here from Gov Fuller Field. We invite you to do the same before we rejoin you on Cape League TV.
Introducing Open Cape, the local nonprofit internet service provider in this region. Open Cape's fast and reliable network is 100% fiber optic, providing affordable internet connectivity. To learn more, visit opencape.org and always speak with a live Open Cape representative. Open Cape, providing choice and competition for your home or business and the official internet provider of your Falmouth Commodores.
We are Open Cape.
Hi, my name is Matt Burgess, General Manager here at Falmouth Country Club.
We had time that was back at Veterans Field, and he's pitched well against really anybody. In total of 8 appearances, I mean, it has been every number on that list. I mean, all of them are impressive. The 0.88 whip, 19 strikeouts to 3 walks. He's been one of the best relievers on the Cape this summer.
He was the lone Angler's arm that was honored as an East Division All-Star, as you mentioned. And here in the home half of the 7th inning, they'll contest with 3, 4, and 5 in the Commodores order. It's Kent Schmidt, Gavin Greger again making his Cape League debut, and Ryan Zuckerman. Those are 3 Commodores who have struggled so far today, though. Call them 0 for 6 with 4 strikeouts. That's been the story of this game so far, Ben, in which Falmouth has only earned 2 hits. It's on a 2 for 2 day for Reese Maroney.
Yeah, it has been, and I don't think anyone's surprised to see him break out a little bit. Frustrating first couple of games offensively for him. Had a couple of errors, too, in his first game with the Doors.
In just a moment. Schmidt lofts one opposite way into left center field. The shortstop, Isaiah Lane, takes a few steps back and pulls down the first out.
Yeah, and it's really not too complicated how we've got here. Falmouth just hasn't done anything offensively. I mean, Chatham has been electric, and Duke Stone a big part of that, the 6 innings in just 2 hits. But again, the 3 RBIs. Falmouth.
Gavin Greger skies one into right field. It takes the right fielder Hanley in for a moment. He takes a few steps back. A pretty simple second out.
Yeah, I've been interested to see how Hanley looks in right field. That's the first ball he's gotten today. Again, we talked about it. Not typically a right fielder. Only one star, or only couple starts in the outfield in high school, but no starts in the outfield.
The put out by Jake Hanley reminded us that with Whitman Clark coming on during the bottom of the 6th inning, didn't get a chance to ask that question. Bottom of the 6th inning, didn't get a chance to ask that question again. So Hanley is the reigning Big Ten Freshman of the Year in 2025. Do you remember who won it in 2024? No. The answer is no. You don't.
You literally gave this to me.
I told you. Yes.
It's so frustrating, too. Purdue had a lot of really good hitters 2 seasons.
Common.
That's my guess, Luke Gaffney.
Sure. 3-0 Chatham entering the top of the 8th inning. We'll talk to you in just a second on Cape League TV.
From TCU, and you're watching Commodores Baseball on Cape League TV. From TCU, and you're watching Commodores Baseball on Cape League TV. From TCU, and you're watching Commodores Baseball on Cape League TV.
Twilight's upon us here at Gov Fuller Field, just off of Main Street in beautiful Falmouth, Massachusetts. Game 37 of the Cape Cod Baseball League sees the Chatham Anglers in town up 3-0 over the Falmouth Commodores, entering the top of the 8th here on Cape League TV. Ryan Martin still alongside you with Ben Haller to my right, where we now see Reese Markham, the 3rd pitcher utilized into this game. He was great the other day, has yet to give up an earned run through his first 2 games on Cape Cod.
Yeah, I think what we've seen from Markham is just consistency and solid. I mean, he got the 3 strikeouts to 1 walk. 3 strikeouts in 3 2/3 innings isn't anything crazy, but he does it in a lot of different ways. He's given up some hard contacts that his defense has certainly helped him on, but overall, obviously no reason to complain for the first couple of appearances for him.
Especially when you go back to his last appearance in that 3-0 loss here versus Wareham. He was great for an inning and 2/3, in which he comes up and just gives up 1 hit, strikes out 1 in a scoreless appearance. He's got Trace Mazan here, who's 1 for 3 today. He's responsible for the most recent Chatham run. That was an RBI single in a 3-run 3rd inning. This guy's just one into right field. Morales takes a few steps into his left. He's got to charge in, drops the hat, but pulls down the first out.
It's a long run for Morales, and starting to look like I didn't know if he was going to be able to make that run, but he just impresses me more and more every single game. And right.
Not a natural-born outfielder as well. Was the West Division All-Star Game starter in right field, won MVP as well. But a natural middle infielder with his 2 years at Wake Forest. He's showing versatility before he gets to College Park and Maryland this spring. So. 1 out now for Jake Hanley. Lefty sees a called first strike from Reese Markham. Hanley's 1 for 2 so far today. Was walked in the 2nd, and most recently reached on a single in the 6th.
We talked about, you made me guess, before Hanley in 2024, who was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year, because Hanley won it in 25.
I know you're gone.
Because you looked at my computer. The question is, who won the Big Ten Freshman of the Year in 2023?
You know the answer to this before looking it up?
Yeah, I was just double checking.
Okay. 1-1 to Hanley, goes low and inside. That's fair. That's
Hint,
fair.
I called his games.
You called his games at Indiana. I would have to think it's Indiana, where you and Jake Hanley both go to school. Not to mention, again, you go from the same high school. About the last time we'll mention that. And last shout out to Mason, Ohio. Go Comets.
We can have more shout outs to Mason, Ohio. I don't hate it.
I'm going to say, timing-wise, I think it's got to be Devin Taylor for how great of a tenure he had at Indiana. Just got drafted by the Athletics. Would I be right?
Yes.
Come on.
Correct.
Come on.
Went 2nd round to the Athletics. A signing bonus of just north of $2.7 million. But, yeah, he's outstanding freshman year. Very similar to Jake, but 1146 OPS as a freshman.
3-1 to Hanley. It's a ball inside, a 5-pitch walk to the Indiana right fielder. His second base on balls today. Puts runner on first base with 1 out in the inning. Here's Cade Arambidi from the 9th spot. He's 0 for 3 today. Arambidi swings at the first pitch he sees and fouls it down the left side. Correct that. It's Hanley, who did not have a single in the 6th inning. He had a walk, make him 0 for 1, but that doesn't really encapsulate his day. He's been walked 3 times. Each of the first 2 times in the 2nd and 6th inning, respectively. He only got to first base. See if Cade Arambidi can advance him here at the 9th spot. Check swing, but first base umpire Rick Force says he goes around for strike 2. Arambidi, now a national champion with LSU. He'll be a rising sophomore with the Tigers this spring. The Texas native was apparently best friends with Eddie Yaman of the Commodores. Swinging strike, throw down to Hanley, and he swipes second base. A rare stolen bag for the Indiana outfielder. Does strike out Cade Arambidi, who Eddie Yaman of the Commodores said could be sensational for LSU this season. Hasn't been that today, though. He's 0 for 4 now, with the card flipping back over to Jackson Freeman.
I think it's just something in the water in Mason, Ohio, that just makes guys really fast. I don't know what it is.
You're calling yourself fast, huh?
I'm very fast.
We saw you run back up from the field to the booth for Intern Appreciation Day, where we were very blessed and honored to be honored on the field today.
I ran the bases last night.
You
After all the kids ran the bases, they let the interns run the bases.
Did they let them, or did you guys just hop on after they went?
We let ourselves run the bases.
Hanley takes third base. The pitch gets away from Mason Eckelman. Now a runner over at third base for Jackson Freeman. He's 1 for 3 so far in this game. He was also hit by a pitch and scored in the 3rd inning. Again, it's Reese Markham on the mound right now for the Commodores. I mean, the day is done. The first appearance on Cape Cod for the Maine Black Bear and Luke Lavager. He goes 2 innings, allows 1 hit, 2 walks, but does not allow a score.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with Laviger the first time we saw him. He doesn't obviously do anything crazy, but just the 2 scoreless, didn't strike out a batter, but induced weak contact. Had some else from his defense too.
Freeman goes the opposite way. Drills one into left center field, but the left fielder in Gavin Greger gets over for out number 3. Another runner left on base for Chatham. This time it's Jake Hanley over at third. Still a 3-0 Angler advantage entering the home half of the 8th on Cape League TV.
You'll always be safe at home with the Diana Lucevero Group at Compass Real Estate.
Hi, I'm Jim Murray, owner of Falmouth's historic clam shack, now Jim's Clam Shack. Located on scenic Falmouth Harbor, Jim's Clam Shack is a destination for the best seafood and sunsets on the Cape. We're open 7 days a week, so stop by for lunch or join us for dinner on the rooftop deck. Bring the entire family to try our wide selection of seafood and kid-friendly option. We deliver the freshest products to your plates daily. Jim's Clam Shack, proud supporter of the Falmouth Commodores.
What's up? I'm Kent Schmidt, first base from Georgia Tech, and you're watching Cape League TV.
Six outs to go for the Falmouth Commodores. Look to break into a 3-0 Chatham Angler lead entering the bottom of the 8th. It's been a Falmouth team that's been quieted so far. Back alongside Ben Haller, I'm Ryan Martin, here with you on Cape League TV for the second inning of work that we see out of the Southpaw. Josh Swink on a picturesque night here in Falmouth, Massachusetts. These Falmouth pitchers have been, or these Chatham pitchers have been great so far. That includes the 3-up, 3-down inning that we saw for Swink in the bottom of the 7th.
They have been, and I think it's something Chatham's been missing for much of the year. At the halfway point of the year, Anglers were in last place. Kind of unlike Falmouth, they've been kind of a mainstay in last.
Third.
It's not like they haven't made hard contact necessarily either. We've seen some good defensive plays. We've also seen some just hard hit balls right at defenders.
Defense for the Anglers has been as advertised. 2-1 just inside on Lopez for a hitter's count at 3 balls and a strike. Lopez, a rising junior, getting ready for his second spring at USC. California native, started his career at Long Beach State, then transferred to USC after his freshman year, where his numbers jumped up from 225 at Long Beach State, and that average goes to 332 in his first spring in LA. Swings through the 3-1, changeup got him to go around for a full count. Meanwhile, Josh Swink has been well utilized both for the Liberty Flames and the Chatham Anglers. Pitched 21 games for Liberty, now make his 9th appearance for the Chatham Anglers. He's the East Division All-Star. Pitch runs inside, and it's a full count walk earned by Adrian Lopez. His first time on base today as a base runner to begin the 8th inning for Falmouth. Again, game 37 of the Cape Cod Baseball League season means that you got to look around at some scoring for playoff implications. Because when you're
There have been longer at-bats that Falmouth hitters have worked. They're just not getting opportunities to be walked. They're not seeing any balls.
Here's Mason Eckelman had his first 2 Cape League hits on Tuesday at YD. Great
Wow.
jump for Adrian Lopez over at second base. He got to hang his head, though, because the pitch hits Mason Eckelman. So there's been a couple times these last 2 games where Lopez has a ginormous jump off of second base, but that one is not going to go to the stolen base at all for the USC Trojan because it runs it inside and hits Eckelman.
Well, if you take away the hit by pitch, Lopez is lucky, too, that he didn't see him. I mean, Swink was not even close to delivering to the plate by the time Lopez took off for first base. Chatham dugout was yelling at him to look behind. He came home anyway.
Would have been the 10th stolen base of the season for Adrian Lopez. Instead, he'll just get up to second and walk in. Here's Reese Maroney. Again, the guy we can't stop talking about, bats 8th in this lineup for the Falmouth Commodores. We'll stop talking about him for just a moment as it's another pitching meeting that comes for the lefty Josh Swink. Swink has issued back-to-back free passes to begin the home half of the 8th. A walk to Adrian Lopez, and then plunks Mason Eckelman. That's 2 base runners on now for Reese Maroney, who's 2 for 2 today. Got both of the singles that Falmouth has in this game.
Yeah, here we are with the Commodores having a chance. I mean, it's always hard in this game. Not only have you not scored any runs, but you only have 2 base hits. But luckily, the guy who's hot right now comes up with 2 runners on base and nobody out. Also, luckily, he hits 8th, so right after him is the top of the lineup after Morales behind him.
Goes Morales and Mike Anu up next. Those 2 West Division All-Stars were combined 0 for 5 today. Anu did reach on stranded on an error in the 6th. Ben, you were acting as sideline reporter for yesterday's run roll win at Hyannis, which means you talked to the player of the game, and Reese Maroney, who's now at the dish. What did you take away from that conversation, that career day for Maroney?
Just exactly what we expected coming into this season. When a player is coming to Falmouth, the biggest thing they take away, honestly, is playing for Jared Saltalamacchia. And he said he struggled at the plate the first couple of starts he got, but really got some help from Saltalamacchia off the field. And look, I mean, this is a very highly prestigious league with a lot of really good.
A 5-pitch walk loads the bases for the first time today for Falmouth, a team that didn't even have 2 runners on yet in this game until this inning began. Now the first three batters all get on base to begin the bottom of the 8th for the West Division All-Star Game MVP, Antonio Morales.
This is it for the Commodores. This is the opportunity you were looking for. It was hard to even believe that the opportunity would come at this point in the game, but again, all free passes, you got to take advantage.
Morales does have 9 runs batted in so far this season, playing in his team-high 36th of a possible 37 games. Squares the bunt. The first pitch he sees is a good one. Right down the third base line. Swing gets off the mound, but he'll have to put it in his pocket. The first run batted in of this game for Falmouth is via a RBI bunt single for Antonio Morales. Would have been a tough throw as well over at first base with the speed of Morales. It scores Adrian Lopez from third base. It's 3-1 Chatham.
How about that? We haven't seen it a ton from Antonio Morales. We've seen it from guys like Mike Anu, squaring around a bunt. Morales saw it a couple times earlier in the year. But, I mean, that is perfect. And a perfect encapsulation. That's the third base hit of the game for Falmouth is a bunt, a slow one down the third base line.
First 4 batters for Falmouth in the bottom of the 8th all reach. And Commodores playing with just 6 outs to go. But now they cut into that deficit. It's a 2-run Chatham lead.
And now the game-tying run stands at second base. This is a big moment.
Big moment. This is the guy that you want up at the plate. The Cape League MVP frontrunner and Mike Anu as the card flips over. One goes way outside, but Cade Aaron Beatty keeps it in front of him. Mike is 0 for 3 so far today. Did reach on the error by the third baseman Roman Anthony in the 6th. You see the win. So for Mike Anu, who just had his Cape League leading 8th home run last night in the run roll win against Hyannis, be hard-pressed to hit one out here for a lead-taking grand slam. I'll try on that pitch, though. Fouls down the right side. Anu, a rising senior, getting ready for his first season of SEC play at Arkansas, following a spring at Marshall and 2 seasons at New Orleans. Does come into this at bat with 22 runs batted in on the summer. That's second most on Cape Cod. Bases are loaded for him now. Josh swings 1-2. Runs outside to even the count up at 2 apiece. And a Falmouth Commodores team 4 points out of getting their way into the West Division playoffs. They need everything they can get. Started with a 13-1 win against Hyannis last night. That snapped a 6-game losing streak. 2-2 is poked foul by New. Spoils it right side of home plate.
This has started to be one of those longer at-bats. Told us today that that first at-bat yesterday, we worked an 8-pitch at-bat. He said, I don't really do that a whole lot. And being in the leadoff spot changes that. Now, this is kind of a similar situation. He's bat cleanup all season long except the base is loaded.
He's got 8 homers. Also homered in the second game that Chatham played against Falmouth. A called strike 3, though, from Swink. 2-2. Uses a changeup to find the bottom of the zone for finally the first out in the home half of the 8th.
Yeah, it's a really good pitch. And one, you know that the strike zone's been bigger for Mickey Garcia today. We haven't seen this Mike Anu. any of the strikeouts for him are all swing and miss stuff. I mean, that is a tough call, but Mike Anu attacks everything.
21st strikeout on Cape Cod for Josh Swink. That's fifth most by an angler. Carl Schmidt fouls out the first pitch he sees. He's been sat down via the strikeout twice today. The Cal Berkeley designated hitter is 0 for 3. And we'll remind you, Mason Eckelman at third base. Reese Maroney at second and Antonio Morales at first. For Schmidt, a 1 goes low to even the count. It's a big moment in this game, Ben, and with only 3 games left to go after this one. Feels like a big moment in the Commodores' remaining season.
Huge one, and again, you're not going to get him any easier opportunities against a team like Chatham who's just been struggling lately.
Swings 1-1, big swing and a miss for Carl Schmidt for his second homer on Cape Cod. Does have 12 run batted in coming into this game. 33 appearances already on the Cape League season. Big moment for the West Division All-Star. Facing the East Division All-Star pitcher, the 1-2. Is grounded over to the second baseman in Mazan. Works over to his left side and gets a second out, but it does score a run in Mason Eckelman. Productive play for Carl Schmidt. It does also move Maroney up to third base, Antonio Morales up to second. That lead for Chatham is cut in half. It's a 1-run angler advantage, 3-2 for the visitors.
Yeah, now game-tying run 90 feet away, go-ahead run at second base, and I don't know, if I'm a Falmouth fan, I don't know if there's anybody I'd rather have up to the plate than Kent Schmidt. What he's done with runners in scoring position recently. Second Commodore player to get to that 20 RBI mark on the season. He's just 2 behind Mike Adu after the rough first week and a half in Falmouth.
The rising junior at Georgia Tech has been great with runners in scoring position. To your credit, a 382 average is the 5th best on Cape Cod. Has 18 runs batted in to just 3 strikeouts. Schmidt's a guy who comes into this game without many strikeouts. His .085 strikeout percentage was the second lowest in the league, but again today, he's 0 for 3 with a pair of punch-outs.
Just shows how good Duke Stone is. Also, again, was part of that larger zone from Mickey Garcia.
Reese Maroney to third base, Antonio Morales to second. They were the final 2 of the first 4 batters in this inning for the Commodores to all reach safely. Josh swings 2-0, kicks and deals. Fastball catches the outer third for a called strike. Schmidt has 18 runs batted in this season overall. I'd like him to go 0 for 3 to start off a game. The 2-1 is a fastball. That's Schmidt's laid on. Third baseman Roman Martin will go all the way to the netting past the Anglers' dugout. Oh, just a 2-2 count. Gavin Greger waits on deck. The Bryant left fielder thrusted into the cleanup spot, making his Cape League debut. Should he be called upon in the bottom of the 8th inning, where Falmouth has already scored its first 2 runs in this game.
It's a tough time to have a bigger at-bat in your first game with the team.
Right. See if it comes to fruition. Swings 2-2. His fastball grounded over to the shortstop, and Isaiah Lane throws across his body. Not in time. Schmidt beats it out. It's a 1-run single that scores Reese Maroney. This game is tied at 3.
That's just prime catch Schmidt right there. I mean, another ball that I don't think he has any chance to drive, really. A pitch that was so low, but still just puts it on the ground and tries to do something with it, and that's exactly what he does. And everybody raves about, the whole joke's been about, Ken Schmidt's speed. He can move pretty well for a first baseman. Got over there to first base.
Correct that. Make it 21 runs batted in this summer for Ken Schmidt. That's the 3rd most on Cape Cod. He's now at first base with Antonio Morales at 3rd for Gavin Greger. First pitch he sees runs inside. Greger making his Cape League debut. He's looking for his first everything still. First hit, first run batted in. So far 0 for 3 just about every way. You see there a strikeout, ground out, and fly out. So Liberty Flame Josh Swink is 1-0. Fastball, swing and miss, top the zone. And on the play, Ken Schmidt does, maybe, can we call it Ken Schmitting with the stolen base
He's
over the second base?
He's done it a lot, yeah. He's trying to bait a throw so he can get caught in a rundown.
Right.
Have a chance for Antonio Morales to score before Schmidt gets tagged out.
Kate Aaron Beatty didn't even flinch behind the plate. But now make Ken Schmidt 6 for 6 on stolen base attempts. 2 in scoring position for Gavin Greger. Swings 1-1. Fastball line backwards. Swings 1 strike away from getting out of it and making Greger 0 for 4 to start his Cape League debut. Falmouth has plated 3 runs in his bottom of the 8th inning. Follows up a 3-run top of the 3rd for Chatham. Those 2 half innings have been our only scoring production here today at Gov Fuller Field. Greger skies it into foul territory, and Aaron Beatty watches it into the stands. Continue to introduce Gavin Greger, a rising redshirt senior at Bryant. In Bristol, Connecticut, stayed home his first year, went to UConn, but redshirted there. And transferred to Bryant, where he was the Bulldogs' everyday starting center fielder. He got to Falmouth at just 11 a.m. this morning after playing in 43 games for the Ocean State Wave of the New England Collegiate Baseball League. 1-2 is tapped into left field, down for a base hit. Antonio Morales scores from third, and Greger rounds first base. A 1-run single, the first hit on Cape Cod for Gavin Greger, gives Falmouth its first lead in this game. It's 4-3 Doors.
How about a new hero in Gavin Greger? I mean, again, this is probably a lot on his mind today. He mentioned he didn't even get in here till this morning. But really good piece of hitting, an outside pitch that he just took the opposite way. This is always the toughest swing, too, in the bottom of the 8th, because now Falmouth just needs the 3 outs. Obviously would love to add on. But, man, it didn't even feel like there was a chance in the 4th or 5th innings with how the offense was struggling. This could be a momentum-changing win on the season. You got 3 important outs, but this will be it for Swink.
Everyone contributing for this Commodores team right now. We mentioned Reese Maroney, and now it looks to be Gavin Greger. New pitcher for Chatham, what's now a 4-3 Commodores lead. We'll introduce him back in the bottom of the 8th in just a moment on Cape League TV.
Are you looking for that perfect pregame meal? Supreme Pizza has you covered. Its extensive menu has everything from pies and calzones to salads and subs. And with its online ordering system, delicious food is just 1 click away.
It's an honor to support the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Supreme Pizza is open every day of the week. Order online or stop by their store, located at 147 T-Ticket Highway.
Out of it, almost tough time getting back in the playoff. Might be one of your easier opportunities to win a ball game. Katuitt still down 1-0. That game's already in the 7th. They're down to their last 6 outs.
Greger takes off from second base. Aaron Beatty doesn't think about a throw on ball 2 from Powell.
And also, still a 3-2 game in Hyannis. Bourne on top of the Harbor Hawks. Harbor Hawks now down to their last 6 outs. But also important in it, Brewster still's got that 7-1 lead over Wareham at the top of the 7th. Both scores hold. That's it for the Anglers on 25.
Right. Chatham needs, to avoid the doomsday of a Brewster a Brewster win and an Angler loss means that Chatham officially out of the playoffs. Again, it's a bit simpler in the bottom of the East Division to understand that. Top of the East Division, it's all chaos in terms of finding that top seed. That's much what it's like in the bottom of the West. How about a 5-pitch walk here to Ryan Zuckerman? The free passes continue after the tremendous start.
Just 1 click away.
It's an honor to support the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Supreme Pizza is open every day of the week. Order online or stop by their store, located at 147 T-Ticket Highway, and try slice today.
You'll always be safe at home with the Diana.
Maroney. They got a total of 5 now, 3 big ones, none bigger than the go-ahead single by Gavin Greger.
Again, Greger got to Falmouth at about 11 a.m. this morning after wrapping up his commitment with the Ocean State Waves of the New England Collegiate Baseball League. And fits right in, gets his first hit. It's an RBI single that gives Falmouth the lead, just as he drew it up. And Jared Saltamacchia. So after to Gavin Greger, he takes a spot in left field and catches the first out in the top of the ninth at 339 feet. He's been a real weapon for Sacred Heart and continues to utilize his special stuff for the Commodores.
My question is, at what point, obviously he started switch pitching earlier, probably before he had that 6-finger custom-made glove, right? I mean, when you're that young, I doubt you're getting a custom glove.
Payoff is spoiled away by Fralick. But a special story for Rogan, who tops out at about 89 miles with each arm. Calls himself a unique competitor, knows how special the talent is. 3-2 again. It's grounded just foul by Fralick. Usually, again, looking for the advantage, he'll pitch lefty to left. Time the Anglers have scored today. Other than that, it's a pair of flyouts to Antonio Morales in right field. That's a pair of flyouts to Antonio Morales in right field. Fralick doesn't have much speed over at first base. The Auburn catcher from the third inning until the bottom of the eighth. Then Falmouth plates 4 in the bottom of the eighth. And that momentum, excitement fully on Falmouth's side entering potentially the last half inning. But that's just a one-run cushion that Falmouth gave itself.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously beggars can't be choosers. But scoring a 4-run bottom of the eighth is huge. It changes the dynamic so much, though, too. Especially Rogan, who was warming up before they took the lead. So you think you're going from just before they took the lead. So you think you're going from just trying to, or on the outside. He's trying to get that outside edge, but has not been able to.
So you mentioned Sabbath, the West Division All-Star. Well, there's another one in Vanderbilt's Jacob Schultz. The southpaw could be a next. Again, it's a switch pitcher. P.J. Rogan on the mound now for Falmouth. Stallman lines us into right field. Antonio Morales is there, and it's too shallow to move Fralick up from second base. That's a big second out in the top of the ninth inning. Last hope for the Chatham Anglers is now Isaiah. Called second straight from P.J. Rogan, and the Commodores dugout signaling to the fans still here at Gulf Fuller Field to get on their feet. P.J. Rogan is 1 strike away from a second straight Commodores win when Falmouth needs it the most. 1-2 is grounded by Lane down the first baseline. Rogan doesn't do the tag, throws over to first base for the third and final out. This game is over, and thanks to a 4-run bottom of the eighth, it's a Commodores win. Falmouth picks up 2 big points in a West Division standing that he's getting tighter and tighter. Didn't look like Falmouth had this one until the very last moment. This is the clutch Commodores that we have to wait to game 37 to really see.
As this game progressed, it felt more and more like I was going to say what I have said, 6 of the last 7 games, and just felt more like the same. One of the couple parts of the game just goes to sleep. Whether if it's the pitching, the hitting, it was the hitting today. Finally, they had an inning where they just break out and just say enough is enough, and finally just have a really good team inning at the bottom of the 8th. Everyone contributed. 10 players came to the plate at that bottom of the 8th to score 4. It was phenomenal. And both Hyannis and Catuit still trailing in their respective games. Things get real interesting if those 2 scores hold with 3 games left to play.
So Reese Maroney was the hero yesterday, goes 3 for 3 and has the first 2 hits of the day for the Commodores. But then Falmouth has 3 of its 5 hits come in a 4-run bottom of the 8th inning. Not much offense there for Chatham besides in the 3rd inning. Ends up being 3 runs on 8 hits in the error for Chatham. And just like we saw Falmouth do in the very first game of the season at Veterans Field against this Chatham team, the Anglers out-hit the Commodores, yet it's still Falmouth coming out victorious because of some good base running, some good work offensively, and of course the story of this game is going to be that 4-run bottom of the 8th.
It's going to be the 4-run bottom of the 8th. It's also definitely going to be the Gavin Greger game. I mean, comes into the game, nothing spectacular. Hadn't reached base for the first 3 at-bats. Made a really nice play or 2 in left field. But, I mean, again, there's just not a bigger situations you can come in, especially with felt like the season's on the line. Now, it is a short note. that Brewster's still a 7-1 lead in the 8th inning. This will probably be it for the Anglers' chances. But the story of tonight, again, has to be Gavin Greger.
Greger goes 1 for 4, but the only hit that matters, it's the one in the end. A 1-run single, his first hit on Cape Cod, his first run batted in, and he's alongside the third member of our crew, Andrew Della Piana, as our Commodores player of the game. Andrew, what do you have from the newest Falmouth player?
How about a game for Gavin Gallagher, guys, just arriving here on Cape Cod earlier this morning. Gavin, I'll start with this team first. What did it take tonight to get that comeback victory?
A lot of tough at-bats. You know, they threw some good arms, and we just hung in there at the very end, and team effort. So we all did a really good job putting together some good at-bats, and obviously it worked pretty well for us.
And for you, getting here this morning, did you think you would be in a spot tonight to give this team a lead?
No. I definitely did not. It was pretty cool being in the lineup today, and great group of guys to welcome me in, and it was a lot of fun today. So.
What were you looking for on that pitch?
Something flat, something hard, something I could hit the other way, like Coach Salty talked about all BP today. So, and you know, I got it, and it worked, and I was able to come through.
Now you've jumped right into a playoff race with this team.
Thrusted into the game in their first day on Cape Cod, much less their first game with the team, and they were both sensational. So once again, it's a 4-3 win for Falmouth in Game 37 of the season. Commodores pick up 2 big points, and they'll look to add more tomorrow night when they make their penultimate road trip. That one will be at Bourne, a first pitch at 6 p.m. You'll want to join myself, Andrew Della Piana, on Opening the Door starting at 5:50 p.m. But that'll do it for our broadcast here. We appreciate you